Once upon a time in a kingdom far, far away, there was a very wise teacher who lived in a small cottage on the outskirts of town. One day, the teacher decided to move into the big city and start a school. He found an old building, knocked down a few walls, and set up his desk in the middle of the room. Then he placed a large glass jar on his desk. It was empty. The next day he came back and saw that a bunch of kids had gathered around the jar and were asking him what was inside. He told them it was something very special, but they would have to earn it by behaving well in class. So he closed the jar and put it on his shelf. For a few days everything went well. The children were on their best behavior and worked hard on their lessons. But then one day he heard some commotion coming from the shelf. When he turned around, he saw two kids reaching for the jar. "Stop that," he shouted. "You can't open this until I say so." But the curious kids didn't listen, and they pulled the jar off the shelf. As it fell, the teacher instinctively reached out and grabbed it just in the nick of time. "Now you've made me lose my temper," he said angrily. "I guess we won't be getting whatever was in that jar." Disappointed, the children apologized and promised it would never happen again. The teacher accepted their apology and decided to give them another chance. He took the jar to the sink, washed it out, and let it dry in the sun. That afternoon, when the children came back from recess, he told them, "I want all of you to work together to finish this sentence. Life is like a jar of..." They thought for a moment. "Life is like a jar of jelly," someone shouted. "No, it's like a jar of chocolate syrup," said another. "It's like a jar of cookies," said a third. The teacher shook his head. "All those are good answers, but today I want you to think a little harder." He walked over to the jar and picked it up. "This jar represents your life. Whatever goes in it should be placed in the same order as your priorities in life, and whatever goes in first will always stay in first." The children were silent as they watched him slowly fill the jar with large rocks. "These rocks represent the important things in life, like family, faith, friends, and dreams," he explained. "If you put these things in first, then no matter what happens, they will always be there for you." Next, he took some pebbles and carefully arranged them around the rocks. "These are the smaller things in life, like hobbies, school, and work," he said. "They're still important, but they shouldn't take up as much space or importance as the bigger rocks." Finally, he filled the rest of the jar with sand. "And this represents the little things in life," he said. "Things like chores, TV, and video games." The children looked at each other, realizing that they had been putting the sand in first. "When your jar is full of sand, there's no room for anything else," the teacher continued. "So if you want to make room for more rocks, you have to take some sand out." The children understood exactly what he meant. From that day on, they tried their best to focus on what was truly important first. And whenever they felt like the jar was getting too full, they knew exactly what to do. As the years passed, the children grew up and went on to start families of their own. But every time they filled up their jars, they remembered their wise teacher and the valuable lesson he had taught them about priorities. So whenever you feel like your life is out of balance, remember the jar and focus on what truly matters first. If you enjoyed this story, please leave a like and watch our other videos.